Quite a few people have asked me about the court TV appearance that I did. It was about 8 months ago. I never posted the video on my channel. I reached out today just to get the green light because I don't want to get flagged for anything. And then watching this video again, I've noticed a couple of things that I can improve on, like eye contact, which is really hard because the camera's up there. But we'll get into that after. And make sure you check out the channel sponsor, Data Seal. Use the link that I provided below. Go and just try a free scan and see how much of your information is out there. I bet you're probably going to want to remove and get that cleaned up. Your information is being sold by data brokers all the time. It's easy for anybody to look up your information using people search websites. They can find your home address, date of birth, email address, phone number. Dataseal.io is the data removal and monitoring service I trust to remove my information from the internet. Click the link below and use the code 5OFFALL to save 5% off your Data Seal subscription.
Let's bring in our guest tonight. Joining me tonight in Salt Lake City, Utah, private investigator, former police officer Rob Joseph is with us. In Hollywood, Florida, the host of the YouTube channel. You got to tell me how to say it, Mel. Melvin Cedeño's with us. Go ahead.
iCkEdMeL. iCkEdMeL. Hopefully you guys can hear me clearly.
iCkEdMeL. Got it. iCkEdMeL podcast. Thanks. Check it out. It's great. I know he's been covering this story in depth. And in Navarre, Florida, a special guest joining us by phone tonight is Cassie's sister, Rayanne. I'm going to begin with you, Rayanne. Thank you so much. Our thoughts are with your family tonight in this search. We're hoping for the best, obviously. When was the last time you were able to speak to Cassie?
The last time I personally spoke to my sister was Saturday. She had just worked her first shift at her new job. She loved it, was so excited to return on Tuesday to work. And she had gotten her Amazon package in the mail, just sharing that with me, and tell her have a good night and we'll talk tomorrow.
So there's nothing, there's no depression, there's nothing like that going. I don't know how you could be depressed with a beautiful little girl like that.
Right.
But I mean, everything was normal. She was happy. Yeah. It was just another day.
Oh, she was so happy. She was thriving, so excited, looking forward to this new job, you know, with the opportunities and finally getting better housing for her daughter and her, looking at houses, sharing those with me. Oh, she was in an amazing place, mentally, physically. I was so proud of her.
So now let's get to the part of the story where everyone is focusing. What was the nature of her relationship with Marcus Spanavello?
He was the father of her child. They did date briefly before they found out about Saylor and welcomed her into the world. But early on, there were many red flags during her pregnancy with Saylor. Noticed how controlling he could be and manipulative and just right away kind of worrisome behavior. So they didn't work out as a couple, but, you know, vowed to try and be the best parents they could. And she would never, ever want her daughter not to be able to see her father. So try to maintain a relationship with him and just be cordial. That's all she wanted. So
was there an official arrangement through the courts as to, okay, this is when dad is with a Saylor, this is when mom is, or did they work it out between themselves?
There was somewhat of a temporary in order of custody. They were in the process still going to court and whatnot, but it was established that it was Saylor lived with my sister full time, but she would visit her father every other weekend and every other holiday until the custody arrangement was fully established. But her goal was, of course, to get primary custody, but never take away his visits or any such thing like that. He also desired the same thing, I think, as well. So.
And did your sister talk about that? I mean, sometimes people keep that stuff private. Sometimes they share it with family about his response to, okay, so you're telling me that he wanted to be the primary custodial parent here?
Yes, that's kind of why it was being so drug out so long. He wanted to be in control. That was the main thing. And so it gave my sister, it made it a little harder for her to arrange something with the courts. And even just the way he would disagree with anything she tried to come to, whether it was picking a school for Saylor upcoming or in the courts. I've never... Someone represents himself, of course, on the custody hearing, but the way his behavior is, even towards Judge and officials is disturbing from the beginning.
Let me ask you this, because I think this is probably the most important question. The mother of his daughter is missing. Is he involved in the search to help find her?
No. And when first contacted, to even just be simply asked, hey, where is she? It's been a couple days. My father was met with annoyance, actually. Why are you blowing me up? Why are you calling me? It's insane. No involvement whatsoever, no cooperation in trying to find the mother of his child. Yeah.
All right, Melvin Cedeno. Mel, this is troubling behavior. You see this in a lot of cases. I know you cover a lot of these cases. If you've got one, and okay, they're not together, but she is still the mother of your child. She's missing, and you're doing nothing. You're saying nothing to help in the search. To me, that is very, very, very troubling.
Yeah, no, I agree. I was looking at the GoFundMe that I think Rianne set it up, but the sister, Casey, posted under there, and a couple of things that I thought were interesting that they mentioned. This GoFundMe was from August 2021, and she mentions toxic relationship, allegations of an abusive relationship. Also, it says that in 2019, it says, I filed for sole custody of my daughter. The court allowed him to have bi-monthly visitation and ordered him to pay child support to Dadio's $10K in support. What I thought was interesting, too, is that when I saw the interview today that the family did with WFLA, Casey's brother, Anthony, he said that she's been telling him for 2 years that Marcus has been threatening her, and that if anything had ever happened to her, that it was him, like that he did it. He had something to do with that. He also mentioned towards the end, they were saying that he was due to pay back money. I don't know if Rianne could maybe talk to that. And some of the
these are big issues. Rob Joseph, these are big smoking guns. These are big ones. He owes money. He wants custody. There's some issues or allegations potentially of abuse here, and you've got someone who is missing, potentially saying, if I go missing or something happens to me, you know where to look.
Yeah, all the red flags are there. Apparently they've been there for some time. And there's a lot in that police statement to the media that leads me to believe that they really kind of know what's happened and they're just making their case. To make a statement like, Marcus was the last person to see her that they're aware of, and she was meeting him in the parking lot. And, from what I understand, it was, an exchange of the daughter. And then, 4 days later, they're pursuing him for information and, trying to locate the daughter. And, they do in Alabama, where he's obviously involved in some employment endeavor out there. But I think all the red flags are there. I think the law enforcement probably have as much information as they need to move forward with their case, identifying him as at least the primary person of interest. But obviously, making these cases, you need to have a little bit more than circumstantial evidence, which is, usually why these cases take a little bit more time to put together.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Rianne Carli, Cassie's sister, let me ask you this. Sailor, is she allowed to talk to her aunt? Is she allowed to talk to her uncle? Is she allowed to talk to grandpa?
No, unfortunately, we have not personally been in touch with Sailor yet, but we are hoping that changes. We are working hard with DCF and getting all the paperwork and everything. We are really hoping that Sailor will be reunited with us physically, hopefully within the next 24 hours. That is our goal for that. working really hard. And even during the relationship, that was one thing. He never ever wanted his daughter to have contact with this side. It was, you know, the isolation tactic, if possible, was one of his goals. And that he's continuing that still, obviously. So that's troubling. I did want to say, too, about the custody payments. Yes, that custody, the money arrangement, child support, he owed that money, and the courts had imposed that deadline, which was coming up this upcoming week. It was soon for him to have that money to my sister or have consequences. So it's definitely worrisome, too, one of that being a factor.
Well, our best to your family. Please, we'll stay in contact with you as the search continues for your sister. And thank you so much. I know you're super busy, but I think you're doing the right thing, getting the word out. So her face is everywhere. So anyone that has information can come forward and help find Cassie. Thanks so much, Rayanne.
Thank you, Vinny, so much.
All right, when we come back, Mel's going to stay with us. Rob's going to stay with us. We're going to take a look at the scene of this child exchange, the custody exchange, where it was taking place outside this popular restaurant. There's a parking lot. We'll get a lot more information when we come back. Talking about Cassie Carli. She is missing, has been missing since the beginning of the week. She was at a child exchange in the parking lot of a restaurant down in Navarre, Florida. Let me show you. It's called Juana's Pagodas. Okay, let's take a look at it so you can see the area that we're talking about. Right there in the panhandle. Zoom in. You can see it's a nice restaurant. It's on the water there. This beautiful, beautiful part of the country. But this is where she was supposed to drop off her daughter, Sailor, to her ex and the father of her child, Marcus Spanavello. But she was never seen again. So let's bring back in our guest, still with me, private investigator Rob Joseph, and host of the YouTube channel, iCkEdMeL, Melvin Cedeno's with us. And joining us now in Pensacola, Florida, investigative reporter with WEAR-TV, Olivia Iverson is with us. Olivia, I saw you there in that parking lot. We haven't been there. Describe the scene. What is it like? How many people are there? What time of day did this happen? Are there videos of this? Give us the lowdown on where this all took place and what happened.
Well, I'll actually answer your last comment first. So according to Sheriff Bob Johnson that you had just showed that clip of him there, he did confirm in yesterday's press conference that there is surveillance footage that they have, but they told us that they can't get into what it does and doesn't show. But if you are in Navarre Beach, like a lot of the Florida Panhandle, it's the beach town, right? You drive over a bridge, over the Sound, and then there's a few restaurants, there's a parking lot there, and then there's a boat ramp. That map on your screen, you can see it. That's the restaurant, Juana's, that she mentioned. When I say she, I mean Cassie's family. Rayanne said that this whole custody exchange happened. The restaurant parking lot is right next to it, and where detectives say that they found Cassie's car was actually on the other side of the parking lot, all the way to the right. That is all the parking available for the boat ramp. It's separate than what's on your screen. It's all the way past that. It's all that parking available for all the tourists, especially this time of year that visit the area. This time of year, it is busy. I wouldn't say for sure if it's busy on a Sunday night, but at least, especially as we saw today, a lot of search crews continuing their efforts and a lot of people out there, regardless if they're there for looking for Cassie.
Mel Cedeno, there's a video. Obviously, they haven't released it. But it seems to me there is some information on that video that is the key to this whole thing. Just like Rob said, it seems like they know a lot more than they are revealing tonight, and it may very well be on video.
Yeah, what's kind of interesting too, if we look at like the text messages that were released, because she left her home, which she lives with her father, around 7, and it's really close to this parking lot where she met with Marcus. And the text messages that were released, it was around 9:40 p.m. The father messages Cassie, and it says, "Cassie, I'm trying to call you. What's going on? I'm freaking out because call me as soon as you get this message." The reply back, which the family doesn't believe this was Cassie, the reply back says, "I'm sorry, car was acting up, and I broke my phone. Marcus is working on it. I will stay at his place tonight, and he is paying me money to do some stuff around his house. Are you in PCB, which is Panama City Beach? And then she says, no, the screen is jumping all over the place. Let me see if he can get this fixed. I'll call you. The reply back is, I'm going to sleep. I just needed to know my girls were all right. And there was nothing from there. The family does not believe that that was her and that she doesn't even talk like that. And they've even said that the verbiage is almost like Marcus. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And then also allegedly one of his stories or responses is because there's a Facebook Messenger message that was put out. And it says, I believe this is from the sister, is Sailor with you? Please, Marcus, this is not like my sister. She has been doing great and was supposed to start a new job. I hope you will at least cooperate with the police. Let them know you have Sailor. She is now a missing person. This was on Tuesday before she was located. She was located Wednesday in Alabama, Birmingham, Alabama. But his reply is really interesting. He says here, Sailor is with me. She wanted to be dropped off in the middle of nowhere in Destin with Sailor, which is Destin is between Navarre and Panama City. That used to be the drop-off spot that they would do. That's the normal drop-off spot. I told her I wouldn't let Sailor go like that, to give me an address and I take them to it. Yeah, cops already called me and I might call again for more questions. If they do, I will apparently, everybody will be asking me that. So I'll just copy and paste what I told your father. This is one of the stories that I heard floating around, and I think that's kind of bizarre too. That's why some people were talking about Destin. It doesn't make sense. Why leave Cassie there? A lot of things not adding up.
No, and her car is found where her car is found. Rob, Joseph,
Right.
The evidence is just mounting up. If you've got this digital footprint that everyone has, there's text messages back and forth. But what Mel is pointing out with and we've seen this in other cases where someone is pretending to be someone else when responding to a text message, and it becomes important evidence in putting together a timeline here.
Yeah, I think what the sheriff's office was doing there, where they made it pretty clear that it's very unlikely that she just wandered away, left her purse, and obviously there's been no credit card transactions. There's most likely all of her personal information, cards, and everything were left in the purse. And then Marcus comes up with some bizarre story where he's trying to lead the police in another direction. But I think what became obvious to me was the sheriff was basically stating to Marcus, I don't buy your explanation. She didn't just walk away. She didn't wander away. She's not going to leave her purse there. And yeah, I have dealt with cases where somebody else has picked up the phone and posed as the individual. And I can recall Mackenzie Lewick, who was murdered a year or so ago, and the guy that had met her in a park and had killed her that night, kept her phone for a period of time and would occasionally get on and use it for social media and different things, trying to make police believe that, you know, something else was happening, as opposed to the fact that he had already, you know, kidnapped and killed her.
Absolutely. So, and don't forget down in Florida also, Brian Laundrie using Gabby Petito's phone as well. We're out of time. We're out of time tonight, but we're going to stay on this story. Melvin Cedeno, appreciate your time tonight. Check out iCkEdMeL on YouTube. Great podcast. Olivia Iverson, Friday night. Thank you so much. I hope you'll join us again. Rob Joseph, stand by, because when we come back, we're going to open up tonight's Unsolved Case File. We'll be right back.
Just to briefly touch on the story a bit. So Carli was last seen on the evening of March 27 while meeting Spanalivo in the parking lot of the beachside restaurant Juana's Pagoda, not far from her Navarre home. Investigators later recovered her vehicle with the purse inside and confirmed. It says here in this article couples, but they weren't together. They were broken up. 4-year-old daughter was safe. Now, investigators later tracked Spanalivo more than 4 hours and over 260 miles away in Birmingham, Alabama, where they questioned him and were also able to check on their daughter, not couple's daughter. That's where her body was found, in Alabama too. You know, so the cause and manner of the Florida mother Cassie Carli's death has been ruled undetermined months after the young mom's body was discovered in Alabama in April, officials said Thursday. Carli's body was discovered in a shallow grave in a barn in Alabama, St. Clair County on April 2nd, hours after her ex-boyfriend and father of her child, Marcus Spanoliva, was arrested for tampering with evidence, destruction of evidence, and giving false information concerning a missing person investigation. An autopsy was conducted on April 4th. More than 6 months later, St. Clair County Coroner Dennis Russell told Fox Carli had no obvious signs of trauma to her body, and the manner and cause of death were deemed undetermined. Wow. At this point, they cannot determine what she died from, Russell said. At this point, we do not know what her cause of death was. As you can imagine, the family is not happy about the autopsy findings. I mean, that's just kind of like, you know, it's just, I don't even know how to describe it. You know, I'd be probably upset, pissed. And so, yeah, that's with that. And so thank you guys so much for supporting me. Hit the like button, subscribe, turn on the bell notifications. Thank you guys for supporting me through everything. I appreciate it. Take care of yourselves and peace.